Okay, guys, that was a great session I had with you guys over learning the over that trial. I was really impressed with you guys, but now we're going to study science. We're going to study earthquakes. Now, let's put your names at the top. Okay, so the land we live on feels solid. It feels solid. We think that it doesn't move. So, right now, I'm not thinking the land under me is moving, but it is. But it does. But, um, uh, but it does. Earth has hot, melted rock inside. We studied last time that that rock is called magma, and it's floating around under the earth, and the crust are basically moving on that melted rock. Not fast, but it's moving very slowly. It is not hard, so under us, the rock is not hard. It is gooey like pudding. Eh, I would call it a little bit thicker than pudding, but the illustration is there. The land we live on is called the crust. So we live on the crust. It floats on top of the melted rock. Floats on top of the melted rock inside Earth. So, recap of that we just read. The crust of the earth is the outside of the earth, and it's floating on rock melted in the middle. So, Earth's crust floats in big pieces called plates. So, we're on plates. I think they actually call them tectonic plates. I don't remember that for sure from my studies, but that's the basic idea. The plates of Earth's crust, fit together like a puzzle pieces. So, if you look at a map of the Earth, you can look at it and see where at one time everything was joined together in the middle. Because they are floating, they move a little all the time. They bump and rub against each other. Bump and rub against each other. And that is what causes mountains. So you have two plates that crunch in here together, and then boom, up pops mountains and volcanoes going off. That is, we live here in Idaho in the Rocky Mountains, and that's how the Rockies were made. Usually, we can't feel the plates moving. So, we can't feel the plates moving. They only move about 6 inches a year. 6 inches a year, which actually is quite a bit. A couple years, you would have moved. It takes a long time, but once in a while, two plates bump against each other. They bump against each other very hard. Then we feel an earthquake. I don't know if you guys have many earthquakes in Florida, but um, here we've had quite a few earthquakes. We had an earthquake just a couple days ago. I was driving in my car, so I didn't feel it. Um, During an earthquake, the movement travels through the ground like a wave. Travels through the ground like a wave. We feel the ground shake and roll. Small earthquakes don't do much damage. Small earthquakes don't do much damage. We had a very small one here. Doesn't do hardly any damage. But a big earthquake down near the San Andreas Fault, which is in California, they have bad earthquakes. Earthquakes can change things in a hurry, which that hurry is another word for quickly, like we studied in our last section for the lava. Cracks can appear in the ground. So you can have cracks in the pavement can appear in the ground. Um, it can even gobble up cars if it's bad enough. Moving land and falling rocks might make a stream change its course. So, might make a stream change its course. Roads break and crack. That's kind of what I was just saying. You get that a lot in California. Buildings can break or fall down. My mom said when she was young, she never wanted gas heat because of how many, when they'd have an earthquake, the gas lines would break and houses would explode, leaking gas into them. So, Earth's crust floats in big pieces called what? I'm going to allow you guys to fill this in. You can go up above and you can find out A, plates, B, pudding, or C, earthquakes. It wants to know what the Earth's crust um, floats in big pieces called what? If you remember, I said the word titanic. I don't remember if that's the correct word. We live on Earth's what? It floats on top of hot melted what? So, you guys can look back up and you can find out we live on Earth's what? That floats on top of hot melted what? And it's right up here. I think I underlined it. So, next, how can earthquakes change the land? Okay, what can they do? It talks about them altering streams. I want you guys to work on putting that into a full sentence. It can alter streams. It can change the course of rivers. It can gobble up land, create big cracks. Okay, next we're going to go to trials and appeals. There are two basic types of trials: civil trials and criminal trials. So we're going to go civil trials and criminal trials. A civil trial settles a disagreement between two people or groups. So, a divorce is a civil trial. I was hit by a car. We had a civil trial. Now, a criminal trial decides if a person or group is guilty of breaking a law. So, decides if they're guilty of breaking a law. In either type of trial, the defendant, the person or group being brought to trial, has the right to be judged by a jury. Which a jury was like you guys making that decision on that case. You two would be both members of a group of people who would decide whether she got her pencil back. Okay. A jury is a group of 12 citizens, 12 citizens chosen randomly. That means um, they're not going to pick certain people. They do, but they pick certain people randomly. Who listen to the witnesses and evidence and decide the outcome of the trial. A judge makes sure the trial runs according to the law, and the lawyer use the law and evidence to convince the jury to vote certain ways. So, again, it's to the judge is there as the facilitator. That's a big word we like to use, the facilitator. He makes sure things are done properly. Okay. If a person is found guilty and thinks the trial was unfair, so person is found guilty, the trial was unfair, he or she can appeal the case. You can also do this in civil court. Um, we didn't figure my car accident was settled correctly, so we appealed it. The insurance company immediately paid us. They couldn't pay us the full amount because it had to go to trial before they could do the full amount, and we didn't want to do a trial again, so we just settled for the limit of her policy. An appeal means to ask for another trial in a higher court in hopes that the verdict will be changed from guilty to not guilty. Higher courts are called courts of appeals, and the highest court in the United States is called the Supreme Court. So, a person on trial, amendment. Okay. 12 citizens asked to judge a trial. Okay. I think what it wants you to do is write the words from the paragraph above for the definitions below. The words will sound like the words shown in parentheses. Okay, so a person on trial. It sounds like the word amendment. So, oh, I know what it is. Okay, so up here, two persons or groups. A criminal trial decides person is guilty of, judge. A jury, group of 12 citizens. I do not see, might be reading this wrong, but a person on trial is called the defendant. The defendant. Now, 12 citizens, that's above, I know that for sure. Type of trial that settles a disagreement. It rhymes with nibble. I don't know if it does or not. That's not a B, that's a V. But um, people at trial who tell us what they saw are known as his misses. Hit misses. Yeah. Okay. Information gathered that relates to a crime. Okay. Men defense. Okay, I can see that. Okay, 6. To take your case to a higher court. A wheel. Yeah, I can see that. Um, the decision in a trial is the verdict. I guess you can call that. It actually starts with a V. I don't. Did we read that? Yeah, we must have. Okay. Um, an event in a court to settle an argument or decide if someone has broken the law. That is mile. An event that in a court settles an argument or decide if someone has broken the law. It rhymes with mile. I'd have to go back up and research that a little bit. The person who runs the trial rhymes with fudge. Well, I hope you guys get that one. So, anyways, guys, this is what we studied the rest of the things. So, you guys can both watch this over separately and work on this. I thank you guys very much, and we had a great session today. Thank you.